Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be installing Starlink at my house in a neighborhood. And I know what you're thinking, why wouldn't you just use one of the local ISPs? Because I do have two of them. One of them sucks so bad that I had to move to the other, and the other is AT&T, and I have a gigabit fiber connection with them, outages and inconsistencies all the time. But let me also tell you a secret about AT&T. I hate AT&T. So I'm looking forward to giving Starlink a try. I'm going to try it out on my house. I'm going to install it up on the roof, and I want to see how well it works in a residential area compared to a traditional ISP. I know it's going to be slower. We've got 100 to 200 megabit per second connection compared to a gigabit connection, but I don't really need all that speed. What I need is reliability and the ability to handle so many devices. I've got a lot of phones and tablets and cameras and IoT devices, and I play games and I work from home, and I want to see how consistently reliable it is and how well it performs compared to my crappy ISP. Worst case scenario, I've got this as an emergency backup for, emergency situations, or I can take it camping and set it up on the ground with the Cybertruck. So I'm looking forward to see how well Starlink performs. I've got a 45-meter cable, Ethernet, power over Ethernet, that we're going to be running through my attic, and a mount, and then of course the dish. So they do have a Starlink Mini that you can put in a backpack or mount in the top of the Cybertruck, and that's really cool. You can use it in motion too. And this is not that. I'm going to be, like I said, installing this one on my house. If you do want to get the Starlink Mini, which I really want one, they're kind of expensive though. I'm going to see how well this performs, then I may get the Mini later and hopefully show you guys that as well. So whether you go for the Mini and put it in your Cybertruck or the Starlink standard kit for outside on the ground or your house, make sure to use the link in the description because you get a free month of service with that, which is a $120 value. It gives me a free month too, so I appreciate it. In this video, I'm also going to be talking about how reliable it is compared to my experience with a gigabit AT&T fiber connection. So that's one of the main things that I personally want to get out of this is how well is it actually going to run in a residential area compared to the options that are available, because this is really not designed for a residential area, but I think it might surprise us. So let's jump into it and find out. All right, so getting started, what do we have in the boxes? So here is the Starlink. Wow, cool. It's actually smaller than I thought it would be. That's what she said. All right, so we've got some paper instructions in here. This is kind of nice if you really needed it. Like if you really didn't have internet access at all and you kind of needed to get the lay of the land here, what needs set up, what plugs in where. This looks like our modem router combo. This seems to be a waterproofing block. So this is just covering up these ports here. Pretty cool. Got a power piece here. We got the satellite connection here. It's marked really clearly. I mean, I've never set this up before, but I can tell that this goes to the satellite, this goes to the power, and then these are our network ports. So very simple, just like you would expect from any of Elon's companies. Here is the power brick. This is nice. I believe all of this is waterproof because it is designed to run, outside. Got the power over Ethernet cable here. I need to run cable quite a long distance, so I bought a longer one. So yeah, I got the 45-meter one. You don't need to buy this, but I needed to run this as far as I want down through my attic and stuff. So, and then this mounting bracket, which I'm going to mount on my roof, because I want to put this kind of on the peak of my roof instead of on the side, because I have stucco house and don't want to drill through the stucco. It's just not gonna hold well. Okay, you got to pull this up. Aha. And then we put this right here. Boom. I got to run the cable first. So I'll do this once I get up there. But we're just going to run the cable through here and out here. And then it'll go into this port. Wow, this is pretty genius design. All right, I had to move this about 4 inches over because I missed the stud. But I finally got it in there nice and firm. Nice handle to not fall off the roof. Oh, look at this. Look who sent a spy. They're watching me. They know what I said. They know what I'm doing. So there is my other attic where we just ran the cable through the roof. And what I want to do is follow these other network cables. I've got Cat 6 running into my house that goes down into the wall here. And there's a panel there with a switch. All right, it took me a few tries, but I finally found a hole that let me through. So let's try this. Moment of truth. There it is. Aha. We made it. Well guys, I have got Starlink set up. I drilled a hole up in my roof, mounted it up there, ran the wire down through my roof into one attic, passed it over to my other attic because I have two attics for some reason, and then I ran the PoE, power over Ethernet, right down the wall, coming out right here, and you plug it right into your Starlink router, and then you plug it into power and you're good to go. All of this stuff I'll explain in a minute. You don't actually need to do any of this. So, you know, you can connect to this access point and go nuts, right? You've got Starlink internet, it's awesome. But what I wanted to do was take advantage of the wiring in my house. I have Cat 6 wiring going to all the rooms, and on my previous ISP, I've been using, you know, a gigabit AT&T connection and using a mesh router system. I had a Google Mesh router system, but my Google Mesh router system was old. It was like 3 years old, and I was trying to set up a Starlink, and it was not working for me. Anyway, I ended up getting a new TP-LINK mesh router system, which I just got set up. It's working really well. There is a mode on the Starlink where you can set it into bypass mode, where you basically bypass this router and you only use it as it becomes effectively a power supply for the satellite dish. I tried doing that multiple times, and I got everything. I got the mesh points working. Everything's connected to internet. Everything's running good right off of Starlink. As soon as I put it in bypass mode, it killed my mesh network. Every single one of them would not connect to the internet. Everything's toast. I tried that multiple times, tried it with 2 different mesh router systems. Would not work. And I found online a bunch of people saying that bypass straight up does not work for them. So my advice is to avoid bypass mode, because you can't just toggle it on and off either. Every time you turn bypass mode on, it says you have to fully reset Starlink completely, hard reset, to get out of bypass mode, which I did like 5 to 7 times trying to figure this out for you guys on this video. But I found a solution, which is to not use bypass mode. Don't just forget about it. And that is, leave Starlink router as your main router. And then as I've got set up a mesh router system that is wired backhaul, meaning all of the mesh points, which are, there's 3 of them, are connected to each other physically over wire, which is why I ran my Starlink down into this box right here. So my Starlink is connected right here, as you see, and then on the back I just ran an Ethernet cable off of the Starlink into a network switch. And on this switch I have the Starlink cable coming in, like I said, coming off of this, and then it is feeding 3 other feeds which go to my mesh points, which are in completely different parts of my house, upstairs, downstairs. And these are, you know, running all the way to the rooms from here. So it's wired backhaul. Instead of the access points just talking to each other wirelessly, they're actually wired right here. So Starlink brings the connection in from the satellite, comes into this guy right here, and then this guy says, hey, let me send my connection to your 3 points in your house so I can get great connection anywhere in my house without having to connect directly to this. So the caveat to this, or the thing that you need to make sure you set up properly, which I've messed with all these different combinations. I've been spending a lot of time on this lately. So I hope this is helpful for someone who may be running into the same issue.
Don't do bypass mode.
Don't mess with it. It's basically broken. You don't need to, but take your mesh nodes. If you are going to connect with mesh, turn them into access points. You should be able to, with any of the modern ones, turn them into an access point instead of being individual routers. So when they behave as routers, they're going to collide with the Starlink router. You're going to have network issues basically that can come up. And I've been dealing with all of those today. But I found out you set those up as access points, and really all they do is become hands of the Starlink. The Starlink is your router, and then those access points are spreading its signal without being individual, routers themselves. Basically, they're just kind of stripped down to work for the Starlink router instead of being their own individual routers. So that's the configuration that I have going. I think it's going to work quite nicely. I have completely disconnected my AT&T service, like unplugged it, ripped it all out. I haven't canceled it yet. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to see how well this goes. So far, I've been really impressed. I have like 45 devices connected in my house, everything from iPads to Roombas to like 5 security cameras, all kinds of stuff actively running on Starlink right now. And I've really been liking it so far after I finally got this stuff all set up. So next step, I'm going to be using this throughout the week. I'm going to be using it for work and video calls and playing some video games with my kids, just doing all of our normal stuff, streaming, watching TV, 4K, all of the normal things that we do with our home internet connection. I'm going to be doing exclusively with Starlink, and I'm going to let you know how it goes. So let's find out.
Got a sniper. Let's make moves.
Well, guys, I've been using Starlink for a few days now, and let me say, man, am I impressed. The fact that Starlink satellite internet can compete head to head with a fiber optic ground neighborhood internet company is unheard of. It's unreal. It's very, very impressive. I've been running my whole house, my 45 something devices, everything from 5 different camera feeds that are streaming at 1080p all the time, always on, while watching TV. Right now, one of my kids is upstairs streaming in 4K, watching a TV show. The other is playing their Xbox online. And my wife is using a computer while we're running everything else. Like I said, the cameras, all the different devices connected. This thing's even connected. Everything has been running smooth and seamlessly, just as if it were on the fiber optic connection. Now, the only things that are different, that stand out as notable considerations of why you would use one over the other, is the speed of Starlink is generally slower than what's available to you with a traditional ISP. I purchase currently, I keep pointing over here at my AT&T inlet, I pay for a gigabit connection from AT&T, and they don't always give me a gigabit. You know how it goes with ISPs. But I get somewhere between, 400 at the worst, 600, 800 megabits per second. Sometimes maybe I get the 1,000 if I'm jacked in right into the line or something. But with Starlink, they advertise like 100 to 200 megabits per second, and I've been very surprised. I've been getting 300-ish when I keep periodically doing a test, and this is on my mesh router system. I'm not even physically connected to the Starlink, so it's been very impressive. The other factor besides the speed is the ping. The ping is awesome, but it's just barely lower with my fiber optic connection. So like when I'm playing games and stuff, I'm getting like a 20 millisecond ping. With Starlink, I'm getting around 30, 28. It's like, a few milliseconds different. Probably not even possible to notice, but it's worth noting just in giving you guys this review. The main factor for me on deciding, should I use Starlink permanently in my residence versus a traditional ISP on fiber optic, is the price. My price for my AT&T network is $90 a month currently. And yes, they always moving it up and this kind of stuff. We'll see what happens. But it's still lower than Starlink's $120 a month. So we're talking $30 a month difference. And with fiber optic, I get a little bit faster connection. If the prices were exactly the same, or even better, if Starlink was a little cheaper, it would be kind of a no-brainer for me, because I'd be like, well, heck yeah, let's use Starlink. But because the fiber optic one is cheaper and faster, it's a little bit more difficult to say, yeah, I'm going 100% Starlink. So I don't know what I'm gonna do long term. I'm actually really on the fence about it because I prefer to support Starlink over AT&T. But whether I stick with Starlink permanently or if I stick with AT&T, it's really not going to impact my daily life. That's kind of the craziest thing and what I wanted to discover from this test. I honestly expected that there would be more little niche thing. I expected it to perform well, right? But I did not expect it to perform as well as my fiber optic AT&T connection. So that is extremely impressive. Awesome job, Starlink team. And it's just gonna be getting better as they launch more satellites and continue to improve the product and the network. The fact that I'm getting over 300 megabits per second is insane. And yes, it depends on your location and stuff. I'm in Oklahoma. Maybe all the satellites are just crossing over me in the middle of North America, but very impressive. At a minimum, I will absolutely be keeping Starlink to use in emergency backup situations, to take camping, might get the Starlink Mini. And if AT&T raises my rates, I'm gonna start questioning it again every time. So I really haven't fully committed to one or the other. Right now, I'm on the Starlink first month free because I used someone's referral code. Make sure you use mine in the description. If you buy Starlink, you get a month free, month of service free. So you can't beat it. You can actually try Starlink for 30 days and still return it for a full refund if you don't like it. But I think it's awesome. Definitely gonna be keeping it around. I love the internet independence, right? Between your ISP, your electric company, the grid, including internet, when I say the grid, is not in our hands, right? We don't have control of this, and it's really nice to have the connectivity, the internet independence of Starlink. In the worst case scenario, everything goes to hell and my ISP blows up down the street and we have no electricity. You know what? I can plug my Cybertruck into my house and power my house. That's another topic. But I could plug my Cybertruck right into my Starlink and have high-speed internet while everybody else is out. This is an incredible thing. I would encourage all of you to think about the value of having Starlink as an emergency backup. You can literally buy the hardware and you don't even have to subscribe, right? You could just try the free month and then keep it in your back pocket for emergency scenarios. So again, make sure to use my link. If you do that, I think it's a great idea because you never know what's gonna happen out there. In summary, is Starlink good enough to use in a residential area as your primary internet provider? My opinion, absolutely yes it is. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video, what you think about Starlink, if you're getting it, if you haven't. Anything you want to let me know, I'm all ears. I always love reading you guys' comments. A recent change to the Tesla referral program now includes the Cybertruck. So if you want to get $1,000 off a Cybertruck or any Tesla for that matter, use my Tesla official referral link in the description. Like I said, $1,000 flat off the top. and it gives me $500 store credit to buy accessories and show those kind of things on the channel. So I really appreciate the support, and you enjoy your new Tesla. Also, if you want any Cybertruck accessories or Tesla accessories or Rivian or whatever other EV you have, evbase.com, use promo code Skylarity. You can get 20% off your order, and you can use it more than once. So if you've already used that promo code before, use it again. You can get whatever you want, 20% off, and it helps support the channel. Also, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.